Sunday and Wednesday, I've stained it with many a tear. I've given you years of my service. I've always given my best, and I've never asked you for anything much. So Lord, I deserve this request. Please don't send me to Africa. I don't think I've got what it takes. I'm just a man, I'm not a Tarzan. But my clients, gorillas or snakes. I'll serve you here in suburbia in my comfortable middle-class life. But please don't send me out into the bush where the natives are restless at night. I'll see that the money is gathered. I'll see that the money is sent. I'll wash and stack the communion cups. I'll tithe 11%. I'll volunteer for the nursery. I'll go on the youth group retreat. I'll usher, I'll deacon, I'll go door to door. Just let me keep warming this seat. Please don't send me to the ends of the earth where the natives are restless at night.
How many of you can relate to this video clip? How many of you in your life can relate to this video clip?
I mean, for me it might be a little opposite, but I understand what they want to serve, but they don't want to go to where it's uncomfortable.
Yes. And I have two questions to let you think about it. What is mission? Who should involve in mission? Think about in your head. Then we'll talk about it. Okay, first I want to teach you a little bit a greeting in Swahili. Since my husband and I were serving in Kenya, for the East Africa country, there's one of the official languages is Swahili. So Swahili, it's a plural form. I will ask you, Hamjambo, how are you all? Hamjambo, and you should answer, Hatujambo. Let's do it again. Hamjambo. Seems like you have a trouble day. So, okay, Hamjambo. Hatujambo. Okay, that's the African way to greet. Okay, before every speaker they started speaking, they had to greet the congregation. Okay. Okay, let me introduce my family a little bit. Okay, this is my whole family. This photo was taken several years back. My whole family went to Africa when my son was 8 years old. My daughter was 11. And after 10 years serving in Kenya, at that time, my son was 18. My daughter was, 21. So we took this video. And that's our neighbor. Can you see the baboon and the monkey? That's our neighbor. We live in a zoo, okay? We live in the woods, okay? A lot of animals will come. Birds, baboon, monkey, in different kinds of shape will come to my house. That's where we stay for the past 10 years. Okay. Okay, this is a song, Swahili song, called I Thank You, Jesus. Okay, Asante means thank you. Sana means very much. And Yesu, Jesus. I want to teach you. Today is Sunday. I don't see many, I don't see many people here is generated by the power of Sunday. So on Sunday, our people in Africa, they are full of energy. So let's stand up. Okay, I will teach you a song how to think about Asante Sana Jesus. Yes, okay. Asante Sana, Asante Sana Yesu, Asante Sana Yesu, Asante Sana Yesu moyoni. Asante Sana Yesu, Asante Sana Yesu, Asante Sana Yesu moyoni. Moyoni is in my heart. Okay, let's clap our hand and sing a song. Okay. Asante Sana Yesu, Asante Sana Yesu, Asante Sana Yesu moyoni. Asante Sana Yesu, Asante Sana Yesu, Asante Sana Yesu moyoni. Again, Asante Sana Yesu, Asante Sana Yesu, Asante Sana Yesu moyoni. Asante Sana Yesu, Asante Sana Yesu, Asante Sana Yesu moyoni. Okay, you can teach your kid to sing this song. Okay, this is very easy. Okay, have a seat, please. Okay. Today we are going to talking about the book of Jonah, chapter 1. So I believe most of you have your Sunday school before in this lesson, right? How many of you have the Sunday school lesson in Jonah chapter 1? Most of you. Yeah, but
Everybody in this room.
yeah, I think so. If you grew up at church, you must have this lesson before. But usually, we generalize the book of Jonah into a book of disobedience, like a high school kid run away from a school thing. The main message in this book is not about just obedience or disobedience. The main message is a missional message. God called Jonah to be a missionary to his enemy, but Jonah said no. Jonah said no. When I was serving my first term in Africa, I like to know about what Africans think about mission. I asked my student, what is mission? Who should involve in mission? Most African students will answer, mission is white people's job. Why do they answer this way? Because in the past 100 years, they only see white people doing mission in Africa. They don't see other people doing mission. So their mentality is only think about mission is white people's job. Because most of people, they cannot read. So they don't know the words of God. So according to their experience, mission is white people's job. Okay? Okay. Let's read through verse 1 to 17. Okay? Let's read it together. Okay. Would you lead us to read this passage?
The word of the Lord came to Jonah, son of Amittai. Go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it, because its wickedness has come up before me. But Jonah ran away from the Lord and headed for Tarshish. He went down to Joppa, where he found a ship bound for that port. After paying the fare, he went aboard and sailed for Tarshish to flee from the Lord. Then the Lord sent a great wind on the sea, and such a high storm arose that the ship threatened to break up. All the sailors were afraid, and each cried out to his own God, and they threw their cargo into the sea to lighten the ship. But Jonah had gone below deck, where he lay down and fell into a deep sleep. The captain went to him and said, "How can you sleep? Get up and call on your God. Maybe he will take notice of us so that we will not perish." And the sailors said to each other, "Come, let us cast lots to find out who is responsible for this calamity." They cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. So they asked him, "Tell us, who is responsible for making all this trouble for us? What kind of work do you do? Where do you come from? What is your country? From what Instead, the men did their best to lure back to land, but they could not, for the sea grew even wilder than before. Then they cried out to the Lord, "Please, Lord, do not let us die for taking this man's life. Do not hold us accountable for killing this man, for you, Lord, have done as you please." Then they took Jonah and threw him overboard, and the raging sea grew calm. At this the men greatly feared the Lord, and they offered a sacrifice to the Lord and made vows to him. Now the Lord provided a huge fish to swallow Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. I just talk about the African. Think about mission is white people's job. Once I met a Korean pastor. He is a mission organization's leader. And when he first joined, finishing the task conference, it's a mission conference in Saddleback Church. And first time, God touched his heart to adopt 150 UUPG. UUPG means unengaged, unreached people group. That means no workers, no Christian worker, no Bible, no believer. We call it a UUPG, okay? When God first touched his heart to adopt 150 UUPG, he thought in his mind, wow, so many, how can I do it? But for a second, he said to himself and to God, say, I am a Korean, I can do it. When he shared about this, I was thinking in my heart, what would Chinese say facing the same situation? What would Chinese churches say? And I have the answer. Chinese church will say, I will think about it, or I will pray about it. Okay? So that's the difference between the Korean church and Chinese churches. Chinese churches is still in the initial stage of mission. Many of the Chinese churches, they don't know mission is God's command. It's not an option. It's a command to carry out. So that's the Chinese church's answer. Okay. So this impact, this mentality, impact our teaching in our Sunday school, in our pupil preaching. So usually we dilute the missional message into a small trivial thing. So that's the thing we have to think about it. Okay, let's take a look at the verses 1 and 2. Jonah's time, God called Jonah to be a missionary to Assyria. So apparently, it's a very strong message. God talked to Jonah directly. It's not to another person to deliver the message. This is in Jonah's time. But Jonah's response is what? It's run away. It's to run away. It's not to follow. Yeah, I know you, Lord. I know you are there. But, I have a lot of reason. I cannot carry it out. So, but this is God's command. And this is not the first time. And God sent out the missionary. Do you know when was the first time God sent out the missionary? Genesis chapter 12, 1 to 3. When God called Abraham, leave your country, leave your father's household, leave your own people, and go to the land I will show you. I will praise you. I will make your name great. I will make you into a great nation. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. So that's the first mission we sent out to the world. So Jonah was not the first one. Abraham was the first one to be sent out to witness God. So this is not the first time, but Jonah ran away, but Abraham obeyed. Okay. And New Testament, can you imagine how many times like Jesus instruct his people to do the mission, his disciple? 5 times, 5 books instructing the missional command from Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Acts. Okay, 5 books. Jesus give the Great Commission to his disciple. Okay. Let's take a look at Matthew chapter 28. This is the first thing Jesus commanded after his resurrection. Okay, we call the Great Commission. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptize them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything. Okay, in Greek, there is only one member here. Guess who? What is it? Only one member. Making disciple. Okay, make disciple is the member. The other word, go by going, by baptizing them, by teaching them. It's all participle. Okay, so main word mean the main message is what? Making disciple. To where? In where? All nation, right? All nation. Okay. The word, I think a lot of people are confused. A lot of, but nation is not the country. Nation, the word is what? Ethno group. That means people group. Okay. So we think about nation. Oh, country. Okay. USA is a country. Canada is a country. The nation, the ruler is what? It's people. Ethno. That's the root word from ethno. So, and in the book of Acts, chapter 1, verse 8, the last thing he commanded before his ascension to heaven. Okay, but you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you, and you will be my witness in Jerusalem and in all Judea and Samaria and to the end of the earth. Okay, take a look upon this verse. Do we see same culture ministry? Judea, right? Judea, Jesus was giving the command to his people. Judea is what? All his disciples are Jewish, right? So that's the same culture ministry. And Samaria is what? It's the new culture ministry, right? And what else? To the ends of the world. What is it? Cross culture ministry. So Jesus' give command is not only for what? Same culture ministry. It's also for new culture ministry, cross culture ministry. And that's the last thing he commanded before his ascension. And usually we think about our Great Commission. We only think about, oh, it's a choice. It's not a choice. Okay? The last thing he commanded his church to do. Okay, application. If God is really the boss, his message should be well received and taken into an action. Is that so? Yes? Yeah. That if God is your boss, has his message been valued and put into practice? That's what we have to think about, okay? As individual and as a church. What would happen if you don't take your boss' message serious at your office? Who is it at work? Who is it at work? Do you have a boss in your office? Yes. If you don't take your boss' message serious, what would happen? Fire. You will get what? Penalty, huh? Okay. Think about that in our mind. And one day we are going to see Jesus. That's the time we have to what? Give an account. Okay? Okay, let's take a look at the messenger. Remember who wrote this book? Who wrote this book? Jonah. Jonah wrote this book. And Jonah was a successful prophet. We will think about why God wanted to choose the runaway prophet. Why didn't God choose the person who is more obedient to his direction and message? And we will see from this message, okay? He was a successful prophet. From 2 Kings, chapter 14, verse 25, where we can find his prophecy came true. During the reign of Jeroboam II, in that time, the border of the nation were expanded to the greatest extent since the time of David and Solomon. So his prophecy was accurate, right? So he is a what? Capable, successful prophet. Everything happened just according to what he prophesied. So successful in his ministry. Okay? And Jonah was a praying person. You can see from chapter 2, when he was in the belly of the big sea creature, the only thing he can do is what? Praying. When he faced a situation, he prayed. Okay, good. Yeah, good character, good qualification for a pastor, right? Capable, then what? Prayerful, and he was a person of witnessing God. From chapter 1, verse 9, you can see that Jonah confessed, I am a Hebrew, and I worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the land. He testified that God is the only God who is the creator of heaven and earth. To the what? To the Gentile settler. Right? So he was a person of witnessing God. Good quality, huh? Pastor quality. And verse 10, he admit the sin he commit against God. He said what? They knew he was run away from the Lord because he had already told them so. So he commit that his disobedience against God, right? So he confessed his sin. Not bad. Many preachers, the famous preacher, even they commit a sin, and the court reached a verdict. He's still preaching. Oh, never confess their sin. I have seen in those leaders. Okay, so not a bad quality for what? For God's messenger. Okay, and verse 12 says he rather sacrificed himself to save the rest of the crew. He told the rest of the crew, pick me up and throw me into the ocean, right? Yeah. He rather sacrificed himself to save the rest of the world. Okay. He has this good quality. Can you do better than him? Can we? Can we do better than him? God didn't choose a random person to be his prophet. Okay? So a lot of times we demote Jonah too much. Even when we are teaching Sunday school, we demote Jonah too much. So let's give us a thought to think about us, not to condemn Jonah, not to criticize Jonah. Okay, next. Okay, the reason to defiance, because of his patriotic. Jonah put his country before God. During that time, the Assyrian was the biggest enemy of the Jew. Okay, so the Assyrian invade Judah. So that's the biggest enemy. And the Assyrian tortured God's people. So Jonah has such patriotism toward his people. How can he go to his enemy to preach the salvation? In his heart, he hoped what? He hoped that the Assyrian Empire will be destroyed by God, and then they will be free, and they will be saved. But God wants to send him to save and rescue the Assyrian. So that's why he ran away. And do you think this is easy for him? It's not easy. My father was from mainland China to Taiwan. His family was killed and scattered by the Japanese during World War II. So after he went to Taiwan and married to my mother, as I can remember in my teenage time, a lot of people buy the product from Japan. My father forbid us to buy anything come from Japan. The TV, the refrigerator, everything from Japan. My father said, how can you help our enemy to their business, to help their business. I think his wound for losing his family, his wound for, scattered to everywhere. So that's why he has this kind of hostility against Japanese. So that's why he forbid his children to buy any product from Japan. But let me ask you, in this kind of situation, if I was sent to Japan as a missionary, is my father going to give me a blessing? I don't think so. I don't think so. Same as Jonah, in that time, his country was under the invasion of the Assyrian. How can he go to Assyria to preach the good news? So that's why he ran away. Okay. Second reason, he had a successful prophetic office. What would his people think about him? Traitor, right? What would his people think about him? Traitor. And what would his people do to him? What would people do to a traitor? Yeah. So, come back to us, application. If God is the boss, why do Chinese churches run away from God's mission? I am a mission mobilizer now. I have been transferred back to the state for 4 years, and I travel to different states, and even in Canada and Taiwan and Asia country. Only 1/3 of Chinese churches were involved in mission. 2/3 of the Chinese churches say, "Oh, we are not ready. Our calling is only for Chinese." I'm thinking, wow, do they really read the Bible? Their calling is only for Chinese people. So that's what happened. During this 4 years experience, I can conclude that 2/3 of Chinese churches, the majority of Chinese churches, they don't care about mission. They don't even want to know anything related to mission. One of the sisters, when he came to my mission course, she said, "I repent." Said, "Before I came to your mission course, I never see God's word in this way. I always do the magazine related to mission." I think when she received the magazine from his mailbox, he will just throw it away. So that's the mentality for most of the people. Okay. If God is the boss, what keeps Chinese churches from involved in mission? Can you think about any reason? We will talk about that in our Sunday school. Okay. And the measurement. Okay. Jonah said no to God because his patriotism, because his successful prophetic office. So run away is to abandon his prophetic office. Since he ran away, so he had to abandon his prophetic office, right? So run away is not playing hide and seek with God. I'm going to play hide and seek with God, and I will come back. Run away is mean to abandon his prophetic office. So in this time, religion was Jonah's false god. Religion. He was so proud of his identity as the prophet of God's chosen people. How dare you, God, to save these people who torture your chosen people? That's Jonah's mentality. He totally forgot that Israel was a kid who cannot dribble, who cannot shoot, who cannot play basketball. But God recruited him in his team. Okay. Who one the kid cannot play, cannot dribble, cannot shoot into your basketball team? Who wants it? No one wants it, right? But God recruited him. Okay. But he totally forgot. This is God's mercy and grace. God chose Israel not because he is capable of playing because he is not capable. So God chose Israel, but Jonah totally forgot. Okay, so now God upset Jonah's identity as a chosen people. Oh, and also Israel's identity. You are not a chosen people yet. You have the great mission to carry out. The reason you are chosen because you have a mission to carry out. Okay, but ethnocentrism keep Jonah not to follow God's word. Just like Chinese churches, I think one of the big issues is ethnocentrism. It has subconsciously impact our life and it will impact our ministry, and we don't know that. We don't know that. So instead, we use project and program as an alternative to appease God. So we hope God, I'm doing something for you, God. I'm doing the project, I'm doing the program for you, God. Why do you have to complain about me? That's our mentality, you know. If the program, if your church is running by program, then program is your God. If your church is running by project, then project is your God. If your church is running by someone, then someone is your God. And in this situation, religion actually has become your God, like Jonah. And I want to share one real case for you. One of the pastors in Taiwan, his church has many elderly people, you know. And these elderly people, they need a caretaker to take care of them. So Taiwan imported a lot of Indonesian caretaker to Taiwan to take care for the elderly people. So on Sunday, every Sunday, the elderly people will be escorted by the Indonesian caretaker to the church. And they will be checking behind the main entrance and making a lot of noise, the Indonesian taker. So the congregation, they were not happy because they cannot concentrate on the message. So the pastor had to ask the Indonesian caretakers to go to the park across the street. Can you go over there to talk? You know, one day when the pastor was speaking, and his passage is Matthew chapter 9, 36. And the verse says, when Jesus saw the crowd, he had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. That day, God opened the pastor's eyes. God told the pastor, they are the sheep without a shepherd. So the pastor repented, and because in that time when God was talking to him, he can see the Indonesian worker just across the street at the park. So he started to begin the Indonesian caretaker ministry. So far, he's still doing the outreach ministry. So, you know how difficult that we need to, as a missionary, that we need to get a visa to go to Indonesia to bring the gospel to the people there. It's very difficult. But right now, it's about 250,000 Indonesian workers working in Taiwan. And Taiwan church cannot see them at all. I'm so sad and I'm so eager to share about the mission, because if we share the message with the Indonesian worker, they can bring, usually they have 2 years or 3 years of contract. After 2 years or 3 years, they can bring the message back to Indonesia. You know, Indonesia has the most Muslim population in the world. Indonesia has the most Muslim population in the world. And Taiwan church ignored the situation. Only a few churches that they start to do the Indonesian workers ministry in Taiwan. So when you pray about this. Okay, I know many of you, your grandfather or your parent, they will come from Taiwan. Okay, so this hit my heart so much. Okay, if God is your boss, you will be attentive to His mission plan. Okay, just like the churches in Taiwan, if God is really their boss, they will be attentive to His mission plan. They would not ignore the 1/3 million Indonesian workers working in Taiwan. We are going to talk about belief and behavior doesn't come along with one another. Okay. In verse 9, Jonah claimed he worshipped the Lord, the creator of heaven and sea and land. But the Lord was not his boss. Okay? He lost his testimony in front of the Gentile. He lost testimony in front of the Gentile. Okay? So, believe and believer doesn't match. I don't know who is our Lord. And I don't know who is the Taiwanese church's Lord. The church is in Taiwan. Okay? So they only focus on their own needs. They are too focusing on their spiritual growth. Focus on their message. They want to listen better to the pastor's message, so they can drive away the Indonesian worker to a path. So that's for us to think about. Is Jesus your Lord in your life? Is Jesus is your Lord in your church, or religion is your Lord, or religion is your boss? Okay. I want to share about a case that happened for the people who were applying to my mission, Africa in the mission. They were born in North America. Both of them, they were doctor. They in their 30s. They applied to AIM to become a medical missionary. After almost 2 years of application, they finished everything until the last final requirement, which is what? Fundraising. For Chinese culture, fundraising is not proper in the social context. For us, we always seeking what? Self-sustaining. I believe your parents are teaching you this way. Self-sustaining, dignity. But for God's job, it's not working like this way. So the couple went back to their church. It's a 100 people's church, not big enough church. So the church told the couple, our church is too small. We cannot go on this with you. We cannot go on this with you. Oh, when I heard this case, it was happened 4 years before I came back to be in this position as a mission mobilizer. My heart was troubled because the church sent out a very strong message. Don't take God's word too seriously. Don't take God's word too serious. They are medical profession. They can have a good, comfortable life in North America. But the church sent out a message. Don't take God's word too seriously. Stay where you are now. So if I were in a mobilizer role in that time, if I was in that position, I will go to that church. I will fly to that church to share with them, to be a mediator. I will tell them about how seriously, if you don't, help to fulfill the calling of this young couple. It sent out a strong message that the church doesn't have doesn't have a direction, doesn't have a value system, doesn't know where God wants to lead the church to. So if I was the mobilizer in that time, I will go to the church and I will help this two medical professions to do the mobilization among the Chinese churches. They are about 10 churches around that area, that region. I will go to the church who were willing to follow God's command, who are willing to invest in kingdom. I will serve as their bridge to communicate with one another. But too bad, the church cannot go on. But for international mission agency, if they cannot raise enough support, the mission would not send them up. So I was really, really sad for this case. So I told my director, I would do the mission mobilizer toward Chinese churches. Any cases happen like this, I will help them. I will help the church to bring the awareness to them. Okay, in order for the prophet to complete God's mission, God sent the prophet to a 3 days of solitary retreat in the belly of big fish. Okay. Have you ever been to a solitary retreat? That means no phone, no contact, no talking, only yourself. I have been, when we were in Africa, our mission requires us to have a solitary retreat. Okay, missionary lady, missionary, and you talk to no one for 2 days or 3 days. You talk to no one but God. Okay, so I know what kind of situation is that. But Jonah was in a big fish belly. I was not. I was in a Catholic facility to have a solitary retreat. And then the prophet repaid and returned with an action item, mission responsibility. For him, seems like a mission impossible. Huh? Okay, let's talk about, in order to complete the mission, what should the prophet will be facing, okay? Different kinds of danger. From Joppa to Nineveh, it's about 515 miles. You will calculate in your mind. But back then, it's by walking or by riding on a camel. Okay? So it took more than a month to travel. A variety of danger await him. He needs to go through the danger of river, from wilderness, from bandit, from his own countrymen. Okay? Different kinds of dangers. And second, he needed to face the culture and language challenge. Jonah is a Hebrew. He speaks Hebrew. Assyrians speak what? Their language, probably Aramaic. Okay? So when he was going to the Nineveh, he cannot speak Hebrew. And for missionary, when we first went to a mission field, the first challenge is what? Language learning. So he needs to face the same situation also. And the culture, Assyrian boasts about their brutality as a badge of power and honor. But for Jews, they are not. So different culture, okay, mentality, okay. And the life-threatening message. It's just like talking the biggest bully in the world. The message is 40 more days, you will be overturned. Okay? I don't know if you have faced a bully situation, or have you ever seen a bully that bully someone? You need the courage to stand up against the biggest bully. Say, 40 more days, you will be overturned. You will be destroyed. What would happen to him? What would happen to you if you say that to a bully? Say, you will be destroyed. And we talk about Assyrian was about cruelty as a badge of courage and power. Okay. So life-threatening message. But when God sends someone to do something, He already has His plan ahead. So God already plowed the soil, conditioned the soil for Jonah. In BC 765 and 759, the Assyrian Empire suffered from a severe plague in the empire. So the Assyrians think about it's a what? It's a divine anger from God. It's a divine anger from God. And the BC 763, a total solar eclipse was seen. Okay, so it was total darkness in that time. So the soil has been conditioned for Jonah's evangelism. So when Jonah went to deliver the message, the whole empire's people, from covenant to the king, they repent. Jonah delivered the message. It's about BC 759. 759. It just, did you see that? A plague just happened in that the same year. So that's why, from the covenant to the king, the whole empire was repaid. Okay, from the king to the covenant, repent. Okay, and a lot of people think, but how can this be? It's only happened in the past, or it also happened now? It also happened now. You know, God has been doing a great job in Muslim world. In the recent 20 years, there are 20 Muslim believer, MBB, Muslim believer inside the movement. That's one movement means within 10 years from no believer to 1,000 believer. In the recent 20 years, we have more than 20 movement. That's God has been doing among the Muslim world. The movement not caused by the missionaries' work. It's because God showed Himself to the Muslim. Say He is Isa. Isa is mean Jesus in Arabic. Jesus showed the Muslim, I'm Isa. Okay, so that's why many Muslims come to the world since AD 610. The Islam was started by Muhammad in AD 610. So in the past 1,400 years, only the recent 20 years, so many Muslims come to the Lord. So I share this information with you because don't think that only happened in Assyrian Empire. It happened now. God's work enough. In a vision, in a dream, God showed the Muslim that He is the God they are seeking. Because all the Muslims, they were what? They were bowed down to pray 5 times a day. They are more devoted than most of the Christians. I met the Somali Christian when they walk out from the Muslim Islam and believe Jesus. They still keep the habit, 5 days of prayer, pray to Jesus. Because in the past, they practice 5 days of prayer in a certain time to work. Mecca. Right now, they believe in Jesus. They pray. They to what? Jerusalem. So, okay. What's happened now? Okay. The Great Commission or Great Omission. We know Christ's command. The seed is Christ's command. Okay. It become what? Omission. So a lot of Chinese church. Great omission for a lot of Chinese churches. I want to share about 2 words with you from verse chapter 1 and 2. Talk about the weakness of the Assyrian, the Nineveh. Okay. Chapter 1, verse 2. Go to the great city of Nineveh and preaching against it, because its weakness has come up before me. Weakness, the root word in Hebrew, it's mean to be bad, to be evil. Raha or rugged. Okay? And chapter 4, verse 1, Jonah was greatly displeased. About what? About God seeing the Assyrian. So after that happened, Jonah was displeased. Weakness, Assyrian's weakness. Jonah's displeased share the same root, meaning to be bad, to be evil. What does that mean? Can you connect together? That means our indifference to mission is the same weakness as the Assyrian. Why? Because God said that Assyrian, Jonah was displeased. He was indifferent to the Assyrian's salvation. So that's why he was displeased. The root word, the Hebrew word, same word, okay? Rocket, Raha, okay? So we have to think about this. A lot of Chinese like to pick out the root word. That's why I need to share the root word with you, the two same word, okay? Okay, next, indifference to mission. Okay. Today, what qualifies as a Nineveh in your life or in your church? Today. Nineveh is the place where you don't want to go when God calls you. Yeah. Nineveh could be the people whom you don't want to associate with them when God calls you to serve them. If someday some people Muslim walk through the church door to here, what would you do? Other than Chinese, what would you do? If they walk through your church door, that means what? God sent them to here. Are you going to serve them? Or are you going to say, this is the Chinese church? Think about that. Nineveh is whatever keeps you staying in your comfort zone when God calls you. This is the Nineveh. The people you don't want to associate. The people you don't want to serve. Okay? So who is your boss? If God is really your boss, you should be attentive to His message and His command. Okay? I want to teach you Arabic greeting, because when you go to a restaurant, in your office, or your fellow student, a lot of Muslim background, or no matter they come from Indonesia, Dubai, Doha, this is the global word, Muslim greeting, okay? Salam means shalom, okay? The Hebrew word shalom, okay? Assalamu alaikum, it means peace be unto you. That's the greeting. Whenever I went to a restaurant run by the Muslim, I will greet them. You know, it gives us the what? It gives us the channel to communicate with others. We have to show them Christian love them. Christian does not hate Muslim, because God loves Muslim also. So we have to show, as children of God, we have to show we love them. We do not think that they are all terrorists. They are not all terrorists. I have to tell you, most of the Muslims, they are folk Islam. The ISIS people that you see from the TV that kill a lot of Christians, they are fundamentalism on Islam. Only 15% of the Muslims, they are they are the extreme, okay? But 85% of the Muslims, they are what? Folk Islam. So Islam is belief. It's only their culture. So most of the Muslims, they are very gentle, okay? So we have to preach the gospel to them. I want to teach you how to say that. Whenever I went to New York, 2 weeks ago doing ministry, so every day I use Uber to go to the conference site and go back to the place I stayed. So I met half of them are from Pakistan, Papua New Guinea. A lot of people, they are from Muslim background. When I get on the Uber and I greet them, Assalamu alaikum, they are so happy. And they tell me, I have a lot of friends, they are Christian. And wa alaikum salam is the answer. Okay, that's me and unto you, peace. Okay, so can you say that out loud, sweet time? I want to teach you something so you can take back to practice. So when you see a Muslim colleague or Uber driver, you can greet them. Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamualaikum. Waalaikumsalam. 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 And that's my ending of message. And I wish you Assalamu alaikum. You should answer Waalaikumsalam. Okay, let's follow today. We take a 10-minute break, right?
Okay.
Then we will go on our Sunday school. Oh, that's my student. They are Sudanese. Did you see the tall guy? The tall guy are from Dinka tribe. His tribe, all the men is about 6 feet, 6'5", 6'4", the tall tribe. And the short guy, his tribe is from a very short tribe. You know, the tall tribe, his tribe, even the lady, his wife is about 5'8". His daughter is 5'9". The tall tribe, South Sudan, the youngest country in the world. South Sudan, independent in 2011. That's my student. Yeah. And Joe speaks 14 languages, include Arabic. So we train them to do the outreach ministry. We cannot speak so many languages. Then one new language is already headed for us. Okay? Since the theme is the power of love, so the power of love, you have to what? Break through a lot of things to sacrifice in order to love someone, right? So I ask, what keeps Chinese people from doing mission? Can you think about any reason? What keeps you? That's the keys in our life that keep us from doing God's word. Can you think about any? What keeps you? You are not Chinese, so you would.
I know I'm not Chinese.
You would. I know.
Maybe being timid, like, you know,
Top reason for Chinese.
yeah, more reserved, more to themselves.
More reserved personality. Good guess. Children's education. That's when I was talking to the people who had an outward call to serve in mission field. The first thing they would think about, what about my children's education? Chinese value education very much. They always think about, oh, if my children don't go to a brand name school, they are not going to have a future. That's most of the Chinese parents' mentality. And so what? It's so dominant in our life. So let me ask the young people, have you go to Bushiban before tutorial center? How many AP have you taken before? How many AP for applying college? You didn't have high school here, but you have been go to tutorial center, Bushiban, right? You know, everyone go to the tutorial center in Taiwan. You know, when my son and my daughter went back to visit their grandparents, and my parents, all their cousins, they all went to Bushiban tutorial center. And my children are waiting, why don't my cousin come back? This is after school time. Why don't they come back to pray with me? And their uncle and aunt told them, they went to the tutorial center until 10 p.m. They will come back. That's the life. So education, children's education, we value too much of our children's education. So we worry about our children's career. My children, they of course, they grew up in Africa. They didn't go to tutorial center. And I want to prove, even the children, they don't go to tutorial center, they still can have a good quality of education. Because in Africa, we have a missionary kids school called Rift Valley Academy. We have about, it's a missionary kids school. We have about 500 students in RVA, okay, from kindergarten to high school, from kindergarten to high school. So whoever served in Africa continent, mostly they will send their kid to RVA. The teacher, they are missionary teachers also. So they have a good teaching, education quality. So don't worry about that. And then I know in Asia, if they were serving in Asia, Asia also has a good, missionary kids school called Faith Academy. So we think about too much. So before we went to Kenya, I was thinking about homeschooling. If they don't go, I don't know. We have a missionary kids school in Africa. So I plan to give my children homeschooling, because right now through internet we can have very high quality of homeschooling in co-op program through the internet, and the local. Most of our missionary kids, they go to the homeschooling program, so we can organize them into a small, community, learning community. So that's one top reason keep us from doing God's job. Worry too much about, later we will come back to the verse. Yeah, and we already played Don't Send Me to Africa. Yeah, and we are talking about the 4 kings who dominate our life, keeping people from becoming missionary. Okay, for the first one, children. Okay, education. And that's, when I read this, I was in deep thinking. From the Asian parenting book, talking about their children's grade. Their children's grade. A means that if you got the grade A, that's acceptable. If you got a B, your grade is B. It means bad. C means what? Cannot have dinner. Oh, I heard a lot of Chinese parents talk about, if you don't finish your homework, you cannot have dinner. I'm thinking, wow, this is America. This is not Asia. I'm talking the Chinese parent in America. Okay? And D, do not come home. F, find another family. Many times I have seen parents say, I got a PhD degree. You say it's not my son. You are not my son. Find another family, that's me. So we value education. I'm not demote education. Education is very important, but education is not the only way. Okay, it's not the only way. If your kids, they are handymen, they are capable, they are born with the artistic gift, then send them to an art school. Art school, send them to an art school. They can become Picasso, or excellent artists. They just focus on reading, only reading. This trend, so this has dominated in our life. Chinese parent and the kids' life. Education. Okay. Second, language learning. Okay. A lot of people say, I'm not good at language learning, so I cannot. I want to be a missionary, but I want to go to the people that I can speak the same language. Okay. But as a missionary, you have to learn their language. We call it a heart language, and heart language is like it's like a channel that the two people into heart to heart talking. So, and language learning show that we are a learner. Most of Chinese short-term mission, they want to go to mission field and teach Bible to the local. What would they want to learn Bible? If they don't know Jesus, what would they care about your Bible? If you don't learn their language, what do they care about? You don't even care about what we are talking about, right? So language is a password to go to their work. So we have to learn, and as a learner also show you are what? You are weak, and you need their assistance. in learning language. Like one of my best friends, his name is David. When he first went to the people group to do the evangelism, when he started to learn the local language is too hard. He cannot differentiate. He cannot tell between yours or mine. They are so similar in the local language. So every time when he introduced his wife, he wants to introduce, this is my wife, Jeannie. And every time he said, this is your wife, Jeannie. So he showed his vulnerability. So the whole villager want to become his what? Language teacher. Every time they will tell him and teach him how to say the local language. Did you see that vulnerability, that weakness, bring him with the people, local people together? So everyone want to teach him the language. When everyone want to become your teacher, you have a relationship with the local. That's when you build up. We need so much to build up the relationship with the local. And one by one, we learn their language and gain their acceptance. Okay? And this has happened to one of my missionaries. He was serving in North Africa, in a Muslim country. When he went to the immigration office to process his visa, and speaking in English, in that time his Arabic is not so fluent. And the immigration officer shouted at him, "How dare you come to my country and don't speak the language?" And my missionary friend started to use his broken Arabic to communicate with him. And he said, all the office suddenly calmed down. Because when the man shouted at him, the whole office, a lot of people think, they are like the bystander to see what kind of drama will become. So when he started speaking in his broken Arabic, it win the peace, like a magic, the language like a magic, and the peace came upon the whole office. So they start to process his visa. So can you see the power of the language? And also, if you don't learn their language, if we don't learn their language, we will never treat it as an insider. If you have never become an insider, you will always be a what? Mzungu, foreigner. For a foreigner, they don't share the real information, truthful information to you. This is one of the cases that happened. One of my missionary friends, he served in Somalia, and he hired a local Somali to help him with some chore. And one day, when he went from A city to B city, and Somalia is in a civil war. Right now, it's a country is still like anarchy, anarchy. So when he wanted to go through from A city to B, he asked the local person he hired. He said, if I go through that B city, it does play safe. And the local told him, it's okay. It's okay. And he went through that B city, and that's the most dangerous place because of the bully, start shooting when he passed through the two sides of the country, the two parties, they are enemy against one and start shooting. And finally, luckily, he come back safe, and he started to ask his hire worker, why do you not tell me the truth? That's the most dangerous place. And the person answered, I don't know you well enough to tell you the truth. Can you see the culture? If you are not insider, they don't have an obligation to tell you the truth. So what are you going to do? To preach your gospel? They are not interested. So language learning is one of the key thing that you can get to the people's heart. That's also a key thing that keep Chinese mission, Chinese people involved in mission. We say, I don't know, I can learn the language. This is the second key. Okay, one. Adjustment in the culture. We call it contextualization. This is very important. You have to dress like them, eat like them, think like them. Okay, I know. How many of you have been in a short-term team? Last year, you have a short-term team and get into some trouble, right? Last year. I know last year you have been
trouble, not trouble.
some issue, yeah. You know, you have to think like a local. As a long-term missionary, even as a short-term missionary, if you want to make sure your short-term project goes through and finish, you have to think like them and ask them their help. You know, when you first arrive in the airport, and you will need to transportation, right? And they will tell you how much you need to pay. A lot of people, oh, this is cheap. This is so cheap than Canada, than in America. Don't say that. Don't say, when you buy anything, don't just say this is cheap. Because if you say this is cheap, there will be regret for not asking for higher price. You are not making them a good day. So the local people, when they buy something or buy some service, they have to bargain. They have to bargain. So if they say 5,000 shilling, you say 4,000 shilling. They never say, oh, 4,500 shilling. Maybe say 500 shilling is only $10 or $20 US. For you, it's very cheap. But for them, you help them to brighten their day. They say, oh, I got a good deal with those Zulu. So if you say, this is cheap, 5,000, give you 5,000. What? I should ask higher price. I should ask 7,000. This foreigner, they have too much money. Why don't I ask more? Yeah, you have to bargain. Even buy a chicken, I bargain. Even buy a vegetable, I bargain. Yeah, because I want to live like a local. I don't want to. I don't want them to treat me like a foreigner. So I had to live like them. In my daily life, I had to bargain. Even a quarter, you count it, it's just like a quarter of a US dollar, or just a quarter. But during the process of bargaining, you learn the language. That's the most important. You learn, when you want to bargain, you have to learn, use the language that you can speak, right? And you live like that. You are more acceptable. So that build a relationship. So if you want to go for a short-term mission, learn something. Learn this, greeting and thank you. Okay, this is important. Okay. And time concept. Oh, all the people from Western world, we are too fixed on our schedule. We are task-oriented people, so we are always fixed on schedule. But for African, they are not fixed on schedule. We are time-oriented people because we are fixed on schedule. They are event-oriented, so they don't care about the time. As soon as the event happens, so you have to know, when you are in Africa, if they invite you to an event, you can be late, but do not leave early. You can be late. Late is a lot, because on the way you came here, maybe you have, the transportation has trouble. Yeah, for African, the transportation tour is not so reliable. So on the way you come here, even on our Bible college graduation day, the speaker, his car was broke down in the middle of nowhere. So our principal started to walk out and prepare to deliver the message. because the speaker was late for almost 1.5 hours. 1.5 hours. But it's good for African, they always sing a lot of hymn and praises. So every group, they keep singing, and how come the speaker does not arrive yet? So that's the trouble. And African always say, you have a watch, I have time. The reason that you have a watch, because you don't have time. And I don't need a watch because I have time. Can you get it? You have a watch, I have time. So when you go to mission field, be loose a little bit, okay? Do not fix on the time. Oh, you are late. You are so late. And the space concept, there is always a space for African. Guess how many people they will write down in our mini name? Guess. Before I went to Kenya, it's unlimited. They have a rake on the top of the car and carry the potato, cabbage on the top of the car. And as soon as the people can get into the car, so there is a saying, it's a 64 passenger for matatu. Matatu is the minivan, like our 7 people's minivan. They say 64 passenger. Some people will hang on like this, hang on the rack, But because every accident involved, many people die. So Kenya government issued a new traffic law. Only allow 14 people to ride down a minivan. 14. The law allow 14 people to ride down a minivan. So right now they use the matatu, the minivan, to do the public transportation, like the taxi, but it's the public transportation. For us, 7 people, but for them, because they tear down the original car seat and then input the small seat and up, and they lift up the seat. So under the seat, they put a lot of what? Cabbage, chicken, potato. So there is always space. And if you go to church, and I think the place, they are using the bench, not this kind of chair. Bench. Yeah. They are. So if you have this small room, someone are going to squeeze you in. If you have this, first time when I arrived in Kenya, my husband and the other 2 missionary ladies need to go to the immigration office to process our, document. And it's a bench, and one lady left, so I sit down, and still this space left, and cannot sit in another person. But finally, another big Kenyan man come in. Then he sit between my friend, the other missionary lady, and me, and put his shoulder upon me, and the other shoulder upon my friend, and they don't feel wrong at all. But in America, you won't do that, right? So if in Africa someone is doing that, don't feel surprised, okay? For African, there is always a space, okay? So this is the space concept. So you have to know, if you have a chance to bring your team to Africa to do the short-term mission, there is always a space.
Judy?
One shoulder raised on you, half of you a body. Okay, next. Distant concept, okay? If you ask an African, how far from here to there, they will always tell you, it's just over there. I remember my husband, James, first took his student to visit people group called Maasai. And Maasai people, they are practicing witchcraft. So there is a witchcraft in the mountain. So he told his student, we had to go to the side that they practice witchcraft so that we can pray And ask God's power to break through the witch power. So, and he asked the local people how far from their village to the witchcraft site. And the local people tell them, it's just over there. And it took my husband to walk 3 hours to get to there. So when you go to Africa, because their distance concept is different for us. For African, 1 day of travel by walking is just over there. So you have to think about that. So 3 hours walking, and then the local people told James, it's just over there, very near. You know, Kenya is famous for what? Marathon.
Marathon, yeah, they run.
Kenya is famous for marathon running, you know. So for them, running 20 miles, small case. So if you want to ask a direction or distance, okay, it's not they lie to you, it's their concept of distance. Just over there. Walking for 8 hours, it's just over there. Walking 6 hours, over there. As soon as they can return to their home, within 1 day, it's just over there. You have to know this, okay? So they say, they lie to you. They are not lying to you. That's their worldview. That's their worldview about distance concept, okay? And body language. A lot of people, they have their body language. You have to know. Just like watch the Indian. The Indian, the body language. You want to believe Jesus? That's no, okay? If they listen, you are talking to your Indian colleague. You say, that's a yes, I agree. Shake hand means yes. Not hand means no. So a lot of body language. You don't want to get confused. You have to know their culture. That's the most hard thing. A lot of Chinese missionaries, they have the theological training, but they don't have the culture training. So CQ, Chinese parents only focus on IQ, right? PQ, physical. Right now we talk about EQ. But I think if you want to go with doing ministry or build up good relationship with your colleague, CQ, culture, quotient, is very important, okay? So body language, and then you have to know, in East African, everything you ask them, the answer will be always yes. Even when they don't understand, they will answer yes, yes. So a lot of children went to Africa. Oh, we share gospel, so many people come to Christ. They never know. The local people, when you ask them questions, either they understand or they don't understand, the answer will be always yes. Okay? So, you have to know. But, you know, sometimes this could bring us trouble. Because I remember when we want to join our church elders' son's wedding, we get lost in the middle of nowhere. That's the African elders' son's wedding. And we asked 3 people, do you know the direction to Kigali? Oh, yes, that way. We're driving for 20 minutes. It seems like we are even more get lost. Then we come back to where we were and ask another person, point to another direction. Yes, I know. So you have to know. When they don't know, they cannot say no to you in front of your face. You have to learn this. Okay. We just talk about, I don't know you well enough to tell you the truth. That's true. That's the culture. They are not lying. That's the culture. Okay. So, and one thing you have to know, engaging the people with same gender, you have to know. Even you are serving as a VBS teacher, you have to engage in the people with same gender. You know, in Kenya, polygamy is allowed by law. It's not only by culture. Polygamy is allowed by law, by the culture. So you say, I'm only talk a group of people, 2 or 3 people. If you are a man, a bachelor, and they are young girl, and for Kenyan girl, they will get married between 14 to 18. A lot of African girl, they will get married between 14 and 18. If you are a man and single, you never talk to a girl privately. They will think you are interested in that girl, hit on that girl. And the parent will propose for their daughter. The parent will propose, and when they propose, they will ask you, how many cows? And you will get so puzzled, what is that? That's a propose. You mean, how many cows as dowry? And you are willing to marry my daughter, okay? That's happened to my missionary. When he bring his whole family to the restaurant, the waiter talked to the father, how many cows? And we are missionary, we know. And our missionary friend Rich said, oh, she is priceless. She is priceless. Don't talk about how many cows. She is not available, okay? So you have to know, when you go to Africa, serve as a short-term mission team, you have to know, only engaging with the same gender. It will cause a lot of confusion and trouble. So if you are team leader, you have to give them an orientation. Okay, so it's important. And you will see a lot of men on the street holding hands together. That means they are body. They are not lesbian or homosexual. Okay, men and men holding hands together, walking. The men were not holding their wife's hand, but they were holding their body's hand. So if you go to Africa and the people holding your hand, the men, that means I want to be your friend. Okay, don't just say let me go with my hand. Okay, that means they send out their what? Friendly signal. I want to be your good friend, okay? And then lady holding hand, walking on the street, okay? But husband and wife, they don't hold hand together. So that's why our missionary, we don't hold hand together when we were walking. We want to assimilate into their culture, okay? And if you want to have a project, or want to give something, or want to talk something to the people group, mean their chief, their elder, their parent. Okay, it's a collective culture. It's a collective culture, very important. You do not talk to the individual, especially the minor. Not against their culture taboo. So you have to talk to their leader when you are doing ministry there. Very important, even you want to give a hat to a boy, right? Your hat? Oh, your cap to a boy? I would not encourage you to do that, because unless you can have 50 of the hat to give all the 50 boys there, okay? So this is important. Do not just give one person. It will cause a lot of trouble. Have you ever think about the other kids, if they don't get a gift from you, their parents will pressure them. How come you don't make a friend like Joe? Joe get a gift from our visitor, and you don't. That means what? You are not working hard. It sounds like Chinese parents pressure their kid to do the best performance. How come Joe get the grade A and you only get a grade B? You know, but they don't care about their academic performance. African care about their what? Relationship. So making friends is the most important thing for Africa. So I don't encourage you to give them small gift to a boy, to a girl, because oh, they are so cute. It will bring a lot of trouble to the other kid when you leave their place. Okay, so do this.
Yeah.
Okay, eating manner and diet. If you go to a Muslim culture, the influence area, they are Christian. They are Christian. but they are eating, using hand to eat. They are using hand to eat. They are not Muslim, but they are using hand to eat. Okay, so you have to use your hand, but use your clean hand. This right hand is your clean hand. Left hand is the hand to change diaper. Okay.
That's true.
So, eating manner and diet. Okay, and diet. Oh, don't think about what's inside the food. Okay, whatever they offer to you, eat it. Okay, and say a prayer. God cleans the food, and let me eat it without stomach trouble. That's the most important thing. Okay, we have eaten VIP sausage. The VIP sausage especially reserved for the chief of the whole family, the head of the family. We visit our church's elder. He reserved the Christmas VIP sausage for us. VIP sausage is what? It's the stomach of the sheep. They chop the meat and then stuff the meat into the sheep's stomach, and then they roast it with salt and the spices. But for us, before you eat it, they cut it. You can smell. You can smell. It is not the food we are familiar with. It's not the smell we are not familiar with. So we call our 2 kids, come on in to eat some food. And my kids say, oh, we are not hungry. And the children always have an excuse. And the whole plate of VIP sausage, my husband and I finish it. Because that's the elder want to show the respect for the pastor. So we eat it. Yeah, but it's good that when we finish, we don't have the problem with our stomach, okay? And the fry, wow. When you have a chance to go to Africa, fry means nothing wrong, okay? In Maasai people, fry means fortune because they raise a lot of cattle and sheep. They are a nomadic people. So when you have a lot of fortune, the sheep, the goat, and the cattle, that means you are going to have a lot of fry, a swarm of fry. So that's common. I remember when I was in my new missionary orientation, the trainer told us, don't shoot the fry, okay? It's very common in Africa context. So when I first arrived in Kenya, and then in our missions office, and the local people served us a cup of tea, and I saw the fry, all standing on my edge of my cup. And I remember my trainer said, don't shoot the fry, but I don't want the saliva from the fry get into my mouth. So I tried to throw it away. I tried so hard to throw it away. And I see my unit leader, who is a experienced missionary lady, staring at me. Don't do that. The body language said, don't do that. And I had to drink that cup of tea with a fry stay in my cup. So be prepared for that, okay? This is my son's staying, okay? He enjoyed Africa so much, became an African kid. Inside, maybe he's a Chinese. Inside, he, I think, mixed with African and American, okay? He said, there are nothing good in the States except food and friends. In the States, he was born in the States. He has some friends. And every time when he come back, the first meal, he had to eat the In-N-Out burger from California. I don't know if you have In-N-Out burger here. It's a state-run business, the best burger in California. So every time when he come back, I want to eat the In-N-Out burger. So that's why. Okay, so that's the food, okay? But when you are doing ministry, I would like you to think about, are you doing the ministry for community development or disaster relief? It's a disaster relief. It's only lasts for a short time. And the local people cannot do that. They only depend on you to do that. It's called disaster relief. But if you are doing community development project, Community development means that the local people finally need to sustain that project. They have their own resource and ability to carry on, sustain that project. So if not, you are not doing community development project. A lot of people say, we are doing community development project, but everything is depend on you, rely on you. Resource, people, the human labor resource is depend on you. This is not a community development. So we want a healthy relationship to build up the local culture, to build up the local people. So we have to differentiate. Okay, so next. And the fourth key that keeping us from doing God's ministry is fundraising. Okay, Chinese is a very self-sustaining people group. Since very young, parents will tell us dignity, self-sustaining. But for God's ministry, if you are going this kind of mentality, you are going nowhere. God's ministry needs a group of people to help to fulfill God's calling. So that's the last key that dominates our life. Keep us from doing God's ministry is the mentality, of self-sustaining. Okay. I went to Taiwan to join a youth mission conference. And one of the young men, he wanted to become a missionary, but he cannot do the fundraising. So he hold up a sign, say, rather to be a martyr than a fundraiser. I was so sorry for his church. His church cannot keep up together to help him to fulfill his purpose, for the Lord. So I just share about the two medical profession case for you. I hope it's not. I hope another case will not happen. I hope whenever the young generation walk out, say, I want to serve the Lord in mission field, all the church people, you can come together to help him to fulfill God's purpose on him. That's the most important thing. Okay. Ethnocentrism, I think we have to think about that. Ethnocentrism means you use your culture standard to judge the other culture. That is inferior to yours. That's called ethnocentrism. We have to. American also has the problem of ethnocentrism. Although it's a lot of people, as American, let me ask you a question. We say people can speak 3 languages, we call it trilingual, right? And the people can speak 2 languages, we call it what? Bilingual. But for people only speak 1 language, what do we call it? Call it American. We call it American. You see the movie, only speak English. Okay, so that's the joke between missionary. Okay, next. Okay, so for sending our missionary, the younger the better, to fit into the new cultural environment. So the young missionary can become a cultural chameleon. It fits into the environment so quick. Also, the younger the better. In terms of what? Physical. In terms of language learning. Okay. In terms of culture awareness, like my son say. My son always say, there is an African living inside of me. He speaks fluent Swahili. Wherever he went in Africa, the people welcome him so much. So he loved the Africa so much because Africa is much convenient, easier for him. Whenever he can say Swahili, and a lot of things will be done. Even he said, Mom, when I went to a graduation safari, and then the African who served me, all the people, they only got 1 piece of steak. But when it's my turn, I speak Swahili fluent Swahili on the way. When they saw me, they give me 2 big steaks on my plate. So I don't have to go back to it. And also one time when we went to a shopping center, the owner listened to my son's talking with other people. and then say to him, "Hey, Kijana means young man, come here to buy something. It's free for you. It's only free for you." Use the local language. And my son say, "Thank you so much. I will promote your business among my peers." Yeah. So, the younger, the better. Okay, I think we have to finish up here. Yeah. Okay, I have to. The people honor the one who served them. We were treated like their prison. When we served our church people, after 2 years, they call us Wazungu, white people. After 2 years, they call us our pastor. And they gather together and serve us to sing the praise song, to praise God. And this is the way they treat their president. Whenever their president visit other country and return to their country, in the airport, they will circle him and sing the hymn. So that's the way we are welcomed by our church people. So it's worth it, okay? 10 years serving in Africa, okay? We build up the relationship with the people group that we never imagined that we can build up such strong relationship with them. Okay, we have to finish up here. Okay.